NBA draft. But the first thing, like I said, we're going to be talking about Jimmy Butler and what he did on Instagram. Now, Jimmy Butler, of course, we are hearing some rumblings that he could potentially be a little unhappy with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the organization. We know right now with KarlAnthony Towns, he's really disappointed with his nonchalant attitude, really does not enjoy playing with KarlAnthony Towns at this point. We know him and Andrew Wiggins last season had moments where they didn't enjoy playing with each other. So Jimmy Butler seems like he really doesn't enjoy playing too much in Minnesota. I know he has a ton of respect for the head coach in Tom Thibodeau, but we're also been hearing rumblings that he could be potentially leaving in the summer of 2019 when he can become an unrestricted free agent, and he's not planning on signing an extension because of that. Now, what he did on Instagram now is that Jimmy Butler, he decided to go ahead and like a comment that said Jimmy to the Spurs. Now, I think there's a few things going on with this Jimmy Butler situation. Now, I think the media, of course, we take a lot of we overanalyze a lot of stuff when it comes to players, especially what they do on social media. Now, Jimmy Butler liking a comment, yes, it does, raise your antennas a little bit. You are going to start paying attention to the fact that he is liking stuff like Jimmy to the Spurs, because I think Jimmy Butler could potentially be a great fit with the San Antonio Spurs if he decided to go there. And the Spurs, of course, they lost Kawhi Leonard. You could bring in Jimmy Butler as a replacement, and you could be a pretty decent team once again. But I do think Jimmy Butler is also positioning himself in a way where he could try to make as much money as possible. Now, what do I mean by this? This is what I mean. Jimmy Butler, I'm sure he could see himself playing in another organization. Also, if he decides to stay in Minnesota, I think it'll be because he could sign a near max deal. Now, the max deal. Now, how do you position yourself to do this? Of course, you have a great season, but also you put pressure on the Timberwolves to start thinking that maybe you could leave, you could walk, you could join a team like the Spurs, or you could go anywhere else in the summer of 2019. So now if you want to keep him around, and what I'm hearing is that the Timberwolves definitely want Jimmy Butler to stay. They do not want him to leave. They don't want to trade him. They don't want any of that. They want Jimmy Butler to remain in Minnesota. And that is the case, and Jimmy Butler knows that the team wants him to stay, doing something like this is very small. You could say this is an accident. You could say whatever you want. But this starts creating leverage for a player like Jimmy Butler, because now he has negotiation to talk about. He could say, hey, I could leave, or I don't mind leaving. You have to offer me more money. You have to offer me the max to stay. And if the Timberwolves truly want to keep him and the nucleus together, you, of course, have to offer him that max to stay. So I think for Jimmy Butler, I think this is allowing teams to start seeing that he doesn't mind playing with certain organizations. He doesn't mind, signing with somebody else in the summer of 2019. But I think it also sends a message to the Timberwolves saying, hey, if you don't pay me, I could leave. And of course, the Timberwolves, they've been trying to get a contract extension. Jimmy Butler so far has not signed any contract extension, so he will be an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2019. But I think there is two things going into it. Of course, Jimmy Butler could simply just want to play for another team, but I do think a little bit more into it, and I think business-wise is a smart move to do this, because when it comes to negotiations, you're now asking the Timberwolves for a little bit more money than you were if you didn't do anything like this. Now, new subject, still sticking with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, we're talking about KarlAnthony Towns, and somebody the Timberwolves are planning on signing an extension with extension 4, and that is KarlAnthony Towns. What we're hearing right now is they are discussing a rookie max contract extension. Now, when they say stuff like discussing this, I don't really understand it. It shouldn't take too long. It should be a few days at most, because you know what the rookie max extension is. It's 5 years, $158 million. You're not really negotiating anything else at that point. For KarlAnthony Towns, I think two reasons why he should get this extension, and why the Timberwolves are planning on getting this extension. Even if, Jimmy Butler has a little rift with KarlAnthony Towns, what KarlAnthony Towns has provided for you has been fantastic. Now, there are a couple of red flags in there. And what I mean by red flags is what I mean. In 2016, had a fantastic breakout year. In just his second year in the NBA, averaged 25 points a game, but that definitely regressed a little bit to 21 points in 2017. It definitely regressed in the playoffs, where he was essentially a no-show for the majority of the playoff run by the Minnesota Timberwolves. So for KarlAnthony Towns, And from what Jimmy Butler said with the nonchalant attitude, what you have to worry about is the motivation. Once he gets this money, is he going to be motivated to be the best Karl-Anthony Towns he could be? Because he has the potential to be one of the best big men, if not the best big man in the NBA. He has the skill sets. He can stretch the floor. He can work down low. He can play defense. He can grab rebounds. He can do just about everything you want out of a big man. But is he going to be motivated once he gets that $158 million in his pocket? That's the question. When it comes to durability, you don't question that of Karl-Anthony Towns. He has played literally every single game, all 82 games for all 3 seasons he has been in the NBA. So you don't question his durability. Of course, anybody can get injured, but you're going to look at his track record and what has he done in the past before you sign him to such a lucrative deal. He's been available, and the best availability is availability, and he's there every single night for you. But the question is, can he ascend and become that 25-point-per-game player again? Or maybe even take it to another level, start giving you that 27-10, 28-12. That type of player. Can Karl-Anthony Towns do it? He definitely has the potential to do it. I think he could do it. But like I was saying before, is that motivation going to be there once he signs that deal? And if he signs that 5-year extension, what is Jimmy Butler's plans now with the Minnesota Timberwolves, since, you know, they kind of have that rift and that friction there? Are they going to be able to repair their relationship? If so, things could be fine. If not, this is definitely going to push Jimmy Butler, you know, in the direction of trying to leave at least and looking elsewhere. So what we're hearing right now, the Timberwolves, they are discussing a rookie max contract extension with Karl-Anthony Towns that will be worth 5 years, $158 million. If this deal is going to get done, it should be done in the next few days. Now, moving on to another player who could see himself trying to negotiate